Listen to me. You are watching Billy.
What movie are you watching today?
Thank you for asking, Arnie. We are watching House of a Thousand Corpses. This was a movie I fell in love with as soon as I first saw it. The camera work alone was just so phenomenal and nothing like I've seen before. I also love the opening credits and the way they did the camera work in that, the weird visuals, and throughout the film they do that. And I wish Rob Zombie would go back and do it more. I like the split screen side by side. I love the old vintage look when you're doing flashbacks or the weird basement tape videos that they did with the Firefly family. That was awesome. But all in all, for our first director's outing for Rob Zombie, this was fantastic. The only thing he directed before this was music videos. The only thing he was known for was music. But there's a lot of issues that came with his first film. Something as simple as the weather.
Everybody was freezing. It was boiling hot in the day, freezing at night out there.
Or something as big as the Jaws ride interrupting your takes. Oh, and having a limited budget and then your company shelving your product for a whole year. But it was alright. It was released April 11th of 2003. It was made on a budget of $7 million, grossed a little over $16 million. Heck, maybe closer to $17 million. But when it's all said and done, does this film still hold up? I mean, yeah, the 70s aesthetic helps, and then we still talk about these characters to this day. So let me go ahead and sum this up for you. Denise, Jerry, Bill, and Mary, they all need to fill up their car with gas. And it just so happens a gas station is open mere minutes after a murder. I'm just kidding, it's self-defense. I mean, I think it's self-defense. But talk about your one-stop shop. You got chicken, gas, and a killer museum. No, really, a killer museum. The kids go through it and they learn about Dr. Satan. They're like, oh boy, let's solve this mystery. So our good old Captain Spaulding, played by Sid Haig, by the way, he kills it in this role. He writes down on a little map, hey, this is where you need to go, and they're on their way. But before getting to their planned destination, Bill and Jerry have to give their best Harry and Lloyd impression.
We usually don't pick up hitchhikers, but I'm gonna go with my instinct on this one. Saddle up, partner.
Everybody gives Sherry Moon crap for being in all of Rob's movies, but she is the best at being Baby. She knows how to play that character and do it well, and she's probably the best thing of all three movies. I'm saying that consistently. Bill Moseley does knock it out of the park in all three too. But I like what she's giving in this, and heck, she's making a case to being one of the greatest Harley Quinns that could have been on screen. But the car breaks down and Bill and Baby have to go get help. And guess who saves the day? Killer Carl. Everybody remember Killer Carl. Carl is the most important character, especially at the end of this movie. Even though it's weird customs and their house doesn't look that great, I feel like they were decent. I know they had ulterior motives throughout the whole thing. But the protagonists that we're given, we have zero to work with. They're all disrespectful. They're all mean. Like, I love Bill Moseley and his monologue. He's great. Then you see Tiny. Tiny's adorable. Tiny, the way he's holding out rituals and eating the cereal, the way Tiny's being Tiny, he is awesome in this movie. Compare that to Jerry, who tries to be funny, but he's not. Or Bill, who's kind of terrible to his girlfriend. And Mary and Denise are so interchangeable, I forget who's who at certain points in time. One's mean and one's forgettable. Seriously, they're fed, they have dessert, and then they get treated to a talent show. Yeah, maybe the stand-up comedy's not the best. Maybe lip-sync challenges aren't your thing either. But you're still guests. Just be grateful, and hopefully they fix your car, which they do for some reason. And that's one thing I like this movie. When this movie wants to give you hope and let you believe that they can escape, they just take it away so quickly. Again, I love the way they do the basement tapes, the behind the scenes. It's like 8mm kind of grungy grindhouse type of aesthetic. And the makeup and the practicality of Fishboy is pretty cool to see. So our heroes are captured. There's not much of a movie from there, right? No, we get introduced to Boring Dad, who is a terrible sheriff, and two of the lackeys. And one of them is being played by a baby-face Baby Billy. Too bad they're not likable. They're shaking down Captain Spaulding, and from there on, I just don't care what they do. The funny thing is I called them bad cops. They immediately find the abandoned car, which makes you think, This is House of a Thousand Corpses. They probably done this like hundreds of times. Is this really the first time they found a car and traced it back to them? And how do you mess up hiding a car? This is where I think Killer Carl's gonna be important later. Seconds later, they're doing little investigations outside the house while one's distracted by Miss Karen Black, who is amazing as Mother Firefly. I also like that you got to see the monsters on the TV. A bit of celebration of previous work and a bit of foreshadowing. It's kind of cool. But the anticipation of it all when it all starts going down, they find the daughter, they find the bodies. As Mother Firefly comes through and gets one of the cops, Otis comes through and gets the other. But this scene right here. I didn't edit it by no means, it just took that long. A little bit more of Texas Chainsaw flavoring, yes please. For those of you that don't know, Bill Moseley played Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2. He's phenomenal in that, but the fact that he's wearing the dad's face in this, and the way it looks, is so creepy. And I have to tell you, I know a lot of weird conspiracy theorist type of Otis people. Otis is probably one of the scariest slashers out there. And when talking about the Mount Rushmore, I know people that know more Otises than they do Jasons and Michaels and Freddys. I really did like the flashbacks where you saw them at Christmas. It gives a little bit of a more homey feel, like you really connected to the characters, even though you just don't care about them because they're awful people. Do they really deserve this though? No. But especially after watching the sequels and going back to this, you're more on this family side than ever before. Here we get some of the most memorable quotes. They're all dressed up in their like main attire. Baby gets one of the girls gone, and then everybody else is carrying out the rituals quite well. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Jerry's useless, and the well scene takes forever. Dr. Satan and Goggles are pretty cool to see. I don't really care for the extra zombie people, but it takes a while down there. She finally escapes just to be taken in by Captain Spaulding, and it feels like it's going to be a happy ending. But then you get this cheap gag of Otis sitting up in the back. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, I love this, and then you see her like in Dr. Satan's like lair. That was awesome. I dug that ending. And then cue the awesome music, because Rob Zombie's movies, if you don't get anything from them, you can't say the music's bad. I love the soundtrack in almost all of Rob Zombie's movies. Alright, let's break down the pros. This is probably one of the best casts for a horror movie I've seen in forever. The dialogue might not be the greatest thing, but the way that the characters brought it to the table, you actually enjoy hearing Otis's monologues, or anytime Captain Spaulding speaks. Again, I talk about the music. The music's phenomenal. The cinematography is probably the best I think I've seen in all of Rob Zombie movies. Yeah, he adds a little flavoring in some of the other stuff, but nothing as extreme as this. I really like the set pieces. I wish Universal would do more Halloween Horror Nights based off the Firefly house, or give me Captain Spaulding's gas station. That'd be fun to walk through. The scary museum, the practical makeup, and the whatever goes into all that was cool to see. The costumes of the killers were cool. Finally, this gets overlooked, the toying of emotions. I really enjoyed the hopelessness of it all, and then you get it, and then they take it away. It's like a give and take, and it's kind of fun. Let's roll out the cons. I'm going to go ahead and break your guys' heart. Karen Black does not return for part 2. Number 2, Killer Carl is useless. I fooled you. I told you he'd be important later on, and he wasn't. In fact, he was probably the reason why they got caught. Number 3, the unlikable heroes. Finally, I guess the end kind of drags a little bit, especially when you get to the well. But that one I dance around from appreciating to, yeah, it's not really needed. Arnie, what would you give it?
3 out of 5.
See, I'm a huge fan of this. I would say 5 out of 5. Some days, if I was like a real critic, I would probably say 4 out of 5. So you know what? Arnie will meet in the middle. Overall score, 4 out of 5. Personally, 5 out of 5. So tell me, did you like House of a Thousand Corpses? What is one of your favorite lines from the movie? If you stuck around this long, you should like and follow. And I guess next time is gonna be a good one. It's Halloween. Da 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 da.